think what you want about me, people, at the end of the day, because they're only your projections. They have nothing to do with me. And an example of this would be those that go around abusing their free will to deny and violate ours in return, right? They project onto us their own narcissism, right? Their own self-entitlement, along with greed and whatever else, yeah. And they don't even realise that they're exposing themselves. And yet they think that I'm these said things, when in actuality and reality it's nothing more than their own projection. Another example of this would be those CEOs under all gambling constituents, or better yet businesses, right? They go around swindling their games in the with the attempt even to steal finance, right, that does not belong to them. Once again, this abuse of power is linked to narcissism, self-entitlement, greed, and only God knows what other demonic influenced empty meat suits that I could possibly think of. And yet they project all of this onto us in the attempt to what's the word I'm looking for? Convince themselves, right, that we're said things. Okay then, if you want to play that game, that's absolutely fine. But at the end of the day, like I said, they are nothing more than your own projection. They're nothing to do with us. So at the end of the day, think what you like about us. You know, the fact that we're currently exposing the flaws, right, within the law, and we're bringing it to light day in, day out, makes us anything but what these people try to claim that we are. In other words, narcissists, right? Gluttonous, demonically riddled people, along with people that abuse their power of free will, yeah, don't go around within the manner that they do when currently bringing the flaws of the law to light. In other words, they wouldn't go around using the free will of man or woman, right, in order to expose their own dirty deeds. I mean, come on now. In other words, that's like evil ratting itself out, right? That's like evil exposing itself and bringing it to light. The last time I was aware, and according to my God-given knowledge, evil doesn't do that. And it's the same behind the fake nice and the fake good woke movement that people try to hide behind in order to conceal their true intentions. And I can guarantee any of you watching this video, those that abuse their free will by denying and violating ours, right, currently hide behind this fake nice and fake good woke movement to conceal their true intentions toward us, but yet to also conceal them from those that they try to swindle also by putting on the fake nice and the fake good masks, as you will, to fool these said people into thinking that they are these said characters that they're putting on, right? When little did they know, they never were and never have been. A real one, right, despite their many flaws and their many battles themselves, they have this gift and ability to expose all of the corruption within others. In other words, they don't need to put on no spiritual mask, right, in order to either fit in within today's society or to expose it. They're just real. They go by the beat of their own drum and they do their own thing. But yet these clowns, they project all of their own nonsense onto us and then try to convince us we're these said things, when in actuality it's all on them. And they don't even realise what they're doing. If anything, they're, technically speaking, treating themselves like a laughingstock, an absolute joke. And yet they try to convince us that we're these said things. And that's the humour behind it all, because we're not. If anything, like I said, despite our many battles and our many struggles of our own, right, we are light workers. And the fact that we can naturally and effortlessly piss people off by exposing their dirty deeds and who they currently are behind the fake masks that they put on says more about them than it does us. If anything, they're ratting themselves out. And at the end of the day, if they want to project all of this onto me and then try to convince me, themselves and anybody else for that matter, that I'm these said things, then by all means you crack on, because the truth will always reveal itself. And it is currently revealing itself within these said people. Because at the end of the day, I'm pure. Despite my own battles and struggles, I'm as pure as they come. And the fact that, like I said, I can naturally and effortlessly even piss people off without even trying says more about people of today's society than it does me. They think, right, they are, technically speaking, killing my soul with their own lies, their own deceptions, along with projections, right? When in actuality, they never were and never have been. I've been putting on, this pantomime act of pretending to be dead, when the whole time I'm actually in fact blossoming. Getting closer, not only to God's divine presence, but getting closer to unlocking my true, authentic identification, as you will, within the heart and mind. Just by spending time alone within my company, being real. Even sitting a while with my own failures, my own spiritual and psychological intruders, along with worldly programmed emotion and feeling that are currently fleeting. And the fact that I can be at peace with knowing who I truly am within the heart and mind, and the fact that I can be at peace in accepting all of these counterfeits. In other words, versions of my old self, and allow these said versions to teach me what they need to teach me so that I can currently let them go into becoming the man that the gospel created me to be, right? Says more about my individuality along with authenticity here than it does those that try to project their own nonsense onto me and then convince themselves I'm said things, when in actuality they are shooting themselves within their own foot, because they're only exposing themselves. And that's how all life goes, right? And it's the same with, say, both man and woman out there today that live like this childlike kind of soul, right? I see through that too. And then they try to get inside my head, right? Project all of this onto me, and then convince me that I'm actually in fact this said childlike soul, when in actuality and reality, once again, that couldn't be any further from the truth, because it is nothing more than projection, manipulation, gaslighting, triangulation, along with domestic and emotional abuse on their behalf. In other words, whatever people convince themselves that I am are nothing more than illusions of who they think I am. In other words, they are versions that they've created within their own mind, right, of me that doesn't even exist. So, as long as it's preventing them and blocking them from unlocking what could potentially be their own gifts, abilities, as well as blessings and fruits, then that's absolutely fine, because they're not doing any of that to me, you know. And how's that for not only a public announcement, but a sound, verbal truth? It is what it is. Like I said, if you observe deeply enough and you currently reflect on people and you know the truth within your own heart and mind, you could actually see these people ratting themselves out without even realising it. In other words, they're living a life not only outside of the Old Testament and the New Testament, rather the biblical word itself, which makes them nothing more than an abomination unto the Lord thy God. So technically speaking, they are an enemy of God. It is what it is. It's a wrap.